in this family, when we begin to see our identity as a member of God's family, that's when we can begin to understand and reflect together on what does it mean then to seek and to do the will of God. There are a number of places in the Bible where Jesus uses very personal titles for us. He calls us in different places friends. He calls us children. He calls us siblings, right? Very personal, very deeply seated relationships that Jesus says, this is what our relationship is like. But every time Jesus says something like that, every time he calls us a brother or a sister or a friend, he then goes on to say, if you do the will of the Father, or if you hear and obey my teaching, or if you do what I command. In other words, Jesus, he says that your relationship with me then leads to you living in obedience to me. Our identity as friends and family members of Jesus leads to us obeying him. Now this is actually, I think, fairly easy to make sense of, right? Your family has a certain way of doing things. You've got customs and traditions. You've got rules that you abide by. You've got certain ways that you just do everyday life. Your family has a culture all of its own. And Jesus is really saying that doing God's will means learning to live as a member of God's household. It means learning to live how God wants his family to live. It's not just the rules that we might say, but it's also the way of thinking and understanding things. It's also the way we look at the world around us.